Hello everyone. I don't know if I have started my stream. I'm new with streaming on YouTube. Uh, okay, but I'm trying to do it correctly. Anyway, today I chose to call this live episode as America versus the Ayatollahs. What's happening in the Middle East? I know that most Americans have big questions about that. And I will go through some news agency opinions, what's happening on the American scene, and also I will give some comments, my opinions. Okay, first I would like to give you a background about myself. Why should you trust me doing this? Is that I was born in Iraq, 1972, in the city of Mosul, where the terrorist group ISIS ruled for over 2 years, about 2014. So yeah, I'm lucky I wasn't there. And also, I didn't go to school in Iraq, but I, with the help of my parents, I started a program of self-educating. So I learned how to write and read, and as I started learning, I started reading holy books, traditional religious stories, but then I moved to philosophy, history, politics, and I discovered that oh, sorry, this is annoying me a little bit. Anyway, yeah, what I want to say that I learned a lot in Iraq. I learned the tradition, the culture, the Islamic culture, language. But after I came to the United States, I started going to school. So I graduated from college in 2016 with an associate in history, associate degree. And also I graduated from San Diego State University 2018 with a bachelor in history again. I hope I can help the American people to know and see what's happening there and have an understanding. So I will start here with, I would say, a piece from CNN. Let me check out. Okay. No, not that one. What is it? Where is it? Yeah, Iran's response to the U.S. may happen slowly, and that's more concerning. So, an analysis by Nick Patton Walsh, by Beirut, Lebanon. As the dust settles, part of Iran's response to the killing of its top general by the United States seems to be pushing President Donald Trump to do what he's always wanted to, what he always wanted to in the Middle East, leave. Yeah, that the author says that leaving is his favorite option. Well, he continues, one message is coming from Iran and its allies, from Qasem Soleimani's daughter to Iran's foreign minister and the head of Hezbollah in Lebanon. The end of the U.S. presence in the region has started. Our aim is clear. The response, shedding the blood of Qasem Soleimani and Abu Mahdi al-Muhandis, is driving out U.S. forces from our entire region. Hassan Nasrallah, the leader of the Iranian-backed Lebanese militant group, said in a speech at a memorial rally in Beirut on Sunday, "That's a toll. It's not impossible. Order and Iran's military planners must surely have entered at least a brief period of recalibration around who they could trust and telephone safely after seeing their top military commander unexpectedly killed by a U.S. drone strike outside the main airport of a friendly capital city. Yet Iran compensates for its lack of military might compared to the U.S. with shrewd tactics and affiliated militant groups to retaliate for them, and there they are heading on an objective that Trump has himself espoused, albeit voluntarily. Iraq has kicked off the process, its parliament asking the executive Sunday to force the departure of the U.S. military and all coalition forces. These calls may dissipate over time, perhaps, but America's commander-in-chief is hardly cooling temperatures by threatening unprecedented sanctions on Iraq and response, and on even demanding $1 billion of repayment for air bases built there before it exists. So I would say this about this article, and the problem is that Donald Trump so far seems that he don't have a strategy, indeed, to what he's going to do if the war erupts with Iran. And we could only wonder what options he will have. For example, he might go to war with Iran, okay, and also he might withdraw from Iraq. I mean, these are two bad choices, but I think withdrawing from Iraq is far more dangerous than going to war with Iran, because we should remember that Iran, in case it's already has a strong hold and position in Iraq, whereas America is not that strong there, because America almost have no friends in Iraq for a simple reason. First, because the American politicians since the last 2 years of George Bush and the entire period of Obama left Iraq without any care. I mean, they didn't worry much about what Iran was doing there. So Iran was building its own militias, arming them, pushing some guys into the Iraqi parliament, like Iranian-backed persons, and not just that, like even the elections when they were happening, they involved in cheating and in uh, getting away with their own cheats on elections, for example. So, of course, they benefited from that, and they got stronger and stronger over time. And still, the Americans don't understand what's happening in Iraq and what is painful for me to see as I observe the American media, from CNN to MSNBC to all the American, almost okay, so we just like the majority of the American media is ignoring the Iraqi people uprising, which is against the Iranian. I mean, I didn't see any pictures of protesters protesting in Iraq on American TV stations until the Iranians put their own guys in Iraq in creating their own protests to distract from the real big protests going on in the country. But the American media ignored all of them, and that's really painful to see. And I don't know if that was intention, they did it intentionally or not, but for one reason or another, they ignored the Iraqi protests, which where they are calling for the removal of the entire Iranian system that's in power right now. I don't know, like, why Americans cannot benefit from this. And I wish the American government was aware enough of the situation that they could interfere and support these protests. And the protesters are really peaceful, and they never use violence. They never resort to weapons or arms, despite they gave so far over 500 dead people, mostly young people. Died because of shootings and government shooting them by some gas, smoke, bullets, but they hit them in a deadly way, so they die because of that. But I didn't see any real American reaction to that. I didn't see the American embassy, for example, going out and condemning what's happening. The American ambassador in Baghdad would usually call both sides to stop violence, and I would say, what both sides? It is one side that is committing the violence in Iraq. It's not both sides. So that was one of the injustices and the wrong things the U.S. Embassy was doing in Iraq. So they ignored what the most important thing happening in Iraq right now, which was possible to help us, because Iran, we should know, her project and her objectives in Iraq is not just driving Americans away from Iraq. And in case they succeeded in doing that, they will certainly attack Israel, and they are preparing for that. They will be able to control Kuwait, which America fought for long time ago in 1991 when we went fighting Saddam. So I'm afraid that this president is not ready for a war, because he's not he seems not concerned with the outcomes or what we should do, what the plan of the war would be like. America seems alone right now in this situation, and it's not that Trump is taking us to war, to be honest with you here. Yes, he killed Soleimani, but Iran was strengthening itself slowly and slowly that happened, and I knew that it will come to the time like when they will decide to go for full offensive, and they can't do that now because not just for Trump's mistakes, but for Obama's mistakes and for George Bush's, the son, mistakes. Even the father, if we go all the way to the 1991 war. Politics is very complicated, and it's not simple as some people make it on the far left, like on the Democratic side. And it's not as simple as some people do on the far right, on the Republican side. It's halfway between two, but I know it's not easy. So I have seen like Americans feel sympathy with Iran, which is, well, I have sympathy with the Iranian people, but the protests you see on TVs, people crying for Soleimani, millions on streets, they don't represent all the Iranian people. All the tyrannical regimes are always able to bring a great deal of people to streets, and that does not make them legitimately representatives of these people. No, like Iran is just like the USSR regime, or like ISIS. Imagine if ISIS wanted to push some, like millions of people in the city they controlled. Tell them, go out and protest against, demonstrate against America. Of course, they don't have the choice. They will go out, and that does not represent their real opinion or what they want. It's just that they don't have the choice. So it is really stupid for some people to mix the Iranian regime with the Iranian people. There is a big difference between the two. An example of that would be, okay, Rose McGowan, I don't know how spell her name. Rose McGowan, you are dismissed. An American actress, Rose McGowan, poses for a portrait in New York on Friday, January 3rd. McGowan says her tweet that apologized on behalf of the U.S. to Iran for disrespecting their flag and people wasn't anti-American. Her tweet Friday came. So I would say you should not apologize for the Iranian people, because what's happening now, it's not the will of the Iranian people. The Iranian people are under siege by the mullahs since 1979. So for Hollywood actress and model, author, and lately political activist taken into Twitter and to call out America as the evil empire to Iran's blooming innocence. I mean, that's not smart, that's not cool, and that's not right, and that's above all wrong, because Iran is the evil tyranny. It's a theocracy. In Iran, they cannot impeach Ali Khamenei. For example, here in America, we are seeking an impeachment of Trump. We criticize him on TV. We mock him all the time. We make jokes about him with our friends. We make caricatures of Trump. We even create songs and melodies, making fun of him and his team of how I can say, like rich big heads. Anyway, to compare this system to the Iranian regime and then apologize for the Iranian people, that's a crime itself, because that's a crime against the Iranian people, and that is also a crime against America and against justice. Those millionaires and rich people, actors, sometimes they live in their own bubble. So I would say, for example, to Rose, have you ever experienced hunger, being hungry and sleeping hungry? Have you ever slept with the fear of the tyrants guys coming and arrest you because you are afraid that you have said something wrong somewhere else? Have you ever experienced going out and you are scared that if you even talk about tomatoes and you say, okay, for example, you say, oh, tomatoes are getting expensive, and suddenly a government agent comes and arrests you and tells you, well, you are encouraging sedition against our great people. Have you experienced that thing? I believe that you are living in your own bubble. So, okay, if you like to talk about that, my door is open for you. So you can contact me, and I will tell you my story and how I and my family, how we were suffering from hunger and fear, and I lived under a regime, Saddam's regime, that was going from one war to another. And in one night, I remember when they took my father, and they were interrogating him. So I was afraid that if they found him, if they ever find him guilty, back then, of course, they would execute me and my family, with my dad, of course. The entire family will go dead. Have you experienced something like that? I don't believe so. And that's why I believe that you are very naive. You are not living in the real world. You should go and experience the real world. You go to Africa, the Middle East, where people are living in an absolute backwardness, where they lack education. Some people easily manipulated by the government or by militias or by those people who have power. So Yeah, that's the problem of the American people right now. Most of them, especially those who live with in a life of like um, yeah. I mean, there are. I don't remember the word right now. So luxury, yeah, a life of luxury, luxurious life, and spending millions of dollars, not worrying about poverty or not worrying about paying your rent, not worrying about anything. So they start having their own bubble. They call America evil. Yeah, Trump is different from America. So if you call Trump evil, I mean, I'm okay with that. That's a politician. That's a guy. That's a, or if you call Obama something, or you call Hillary something, I don't care. That's calling a person. But to call America as a country, and this is a great experience where people can criticize everything freely and without being arrested. I mean, that itself should be something that we should be proud of, not ashamed of. So, okay, now to avoid going down in Iraq and the Middle East, we need to do the following. We need to support those people, especially the young generation, who are opposing the Iranian killers and the regime. And we should support the Iranian people. And like only 2 weeks ago, and this is for Rose also, she can hear me. Only 2 weeks ago, the Iranian people got out and they were protesting against the Iranian regime because life there is becoming unbelievably hard and crazy, and yeah, pressure on common people is really great. So the government responded by killing people. They killed within 1 week 1,500 Iranians, 1,500 individuals, women, children, and men. They killed them just because they said to their own government, stop, stop, we don't want to go to war. So we need to support the people who are protesting there. And in Iraq, the Iraqi government has no legitimacy right now because this government is based on a regime that is all was built step by step on cheating in elections, cheating in reporting what's happening on the ground, cheating on they even took the Iraqi money to support the Iranian militias. So what I want to say here that we still have the choice and the option to stay there and push forward, because I believe withdrawing also without any plans is a catastrophic decision, just as going to war without any plans will be catastrophic again. So we need to have a more awareness by our Congress. Our Congress seems unaware of what's happening in Iraq. Like I have listened to congressmen speaking on NBC News, on CNN. I read from the New York Times. No one of them ever talks about the protests going in Iraq against the Iraqi regime or the parliament, the fake parliament they have right now. But they talk about the malicious protests, the fake protests they made against the American embassy. It was a very small protest that was politically financed and supported. So I hope that we all should have more awareness of that. We should not deal with it with emotions like Hollywood actors do mostly. Yeah, these are emotions, and I know that Trump has shown worse cases of emotions. Like he's a very emotional person. He's very angry. Sometimes he gets excited very easily, and that's also a worrisome thing. So okay, let me explain for you how the Iranian regime works. So the Iranian people, when they rose up in the revolution in 1979, the revolution was not Islamic. Generally, it was a mix of liberals and communists and Islamists. All kind of people rose against the Shah back then because he was not solving their economic issues and problems, and he was oppressive. Yeah, but in the end, when the Americans were afraid that a communist party or a communist wing might get into power, America and France and the allies, they favored to see the Islamists come to power. So we supported Ayatollah Khomeini, and he came to power. But he then showed his real skin, that he was against communists. Yeah, that's true. He executed hundreds of them, if not thousands. He controlled the whole country, converted into an Islamic theocracy, and but then how the Iranian regime works, it's like this. Iran is ruled by a small group of people. It's like you can compare it to Sparta in the Athenian examples. If you have studied the Greek history, the Spartans were like they have a small democracy, but between their own few individuals. So imagine few individuals having freedom between them, discussing everything, but other than that, they don't give other people any opportunity to criticize them. So they are a group of autocratic regime, and it's closed. It has its own economy. It tries to sustain itself, and in Iran, they have blocked internet long time ago. I know that they opened some internet little bit, but even that, it was not real. It's not real internet because it's all under surveillance, and yeah, you cannot speak freely on it. You have to enter your own user and password so the government will know everything you say online. But now, after the protests in Iran a few weeks ago, so they cut the internet um, completely. And what they did also is that the Iranian regime, they are as school of religious school. They have something they call the Ayatollah, and the Ayatollah is how I can say it, like bishops and archbishops in the Catholic Church. They have a great deal of power because when you study religion in the Shi'i sect or in the Shi'i doctrine, it takes long years of studying of Islamic jurisdiction, language, linguistics, some basics of logic and philosophy, but after long years, they reach somewhere where they can become Ayatollah, which is the highest degree where you can make opinions on religious issues. So the Iraqi or the Ayatollah who lives in Iraq, which is the major or the international leader of all Shia all over the world, Ayatollah Sistani, who is an Iranian, by the way, originally, but he has been living in Iraq long time ago. He's over almost 100 years, or like 90, I don't know, 90 years, 90 something years old. And he came to Iraq when he was a very young boy. Yeah. So anyway, but he is capable of making an opinion that will influence even Iran, the Iranian regime. But the problem is that both have different points of views, because the major Shia Ayatollahs in Iraq, they believe in non-interference, that they should not interfere in politics. I mean, it's been over 1,000 years of isolation, or over that, like 1,200 years of isolation. Shia isolate themselves from politics. But the only person or Ayatollah who changed all this was Ayatollah Khomeini in Iran, who decided that the Shia should not stay away from politics. And the problem is that he went from a radical point of view to another radical point of view. So from a radical point of view that sees interference or even contributing to politics as being infidel or not acceptable by God, or the holy imam, hidden imam, who will come with Jesus in the end of time, to another radical point of view, where he believes in theocracy and created the jurisdiction of the jurists. So Iran is ruled by one mullah, or one Ayatollah, which is Ayatollah Khamenei. And by the way, some people even call him Hujjatullah, and Hujjatullah is a degree less than Ayatollah, because there are some gossip and news that some mullahs made him Ayatollah just like a few months before he became the supreme leader. So he was less than an Ayatollah a few months before he became into power. So they gave him this privilege and that title of Ayatollah in order for him to be legitimate and strong enough to stay there. So Iran is ruled by a powerful theocracy, and this theocracy is going down right now. I mean, Trump was good. I mean, I don't like Trump, but when he put sanctions on Iran, that was a good choice, but he should have been more patient with that. But I am afraid that he used the case to support his own interest or for his own interest. I don't know, I'm not sure with that. Because I know he's a how can I say, yeah, he cares about himself and his own interests more than any other thing. But here I'm talking about the politics. Okay, whether Trump right or wrong. Anyway, this pressure made the Iranian regime weak, but also what made the Iranian regime really weak was the Iraqi uprising recently on October the 1st, and the uprisings that continued, they still continuing until this very moment. So yeah, these uprisings really made the Iranian regime weak. So I hope that the American people deal with the issue not with our emotions or anger, or because these are issues that concerns our country, our interests, how we can make America stronger and stay strong. I mean, and I criticize Trump because I want America to stay strong. I have nothing to do with Trump. I mean, I don't know the guy. I haven't known him until he showed himself as a candidate for president. So it's not personal. It's about the U.S. It's about America. It's about our freedom and our human rights. It's nothing wrong with being proud of being American, but it's wrong to become racist. It's wrong to not see the wrong when we do the wrong thing, because after all, we are all humans. We should criticize ourselves. We should criticize our government, but we also should not attack America for Trump. I mean, America is a totally different thing from Trump. Trump is Trump and America is America. America is a different thing. America is our country and it's our beloved home. So you should love your home. Nothing wrong with that. But to be a racist and to be hateful and to encourage division in our own domestic scene, that's something I hate to see. Okay, so what should we do? I don't know if I can receive some people here on or comments. I hope some people get in line and put some comments and tell us what do they think, like what should we do. I see that Iraq, for example, is going, the Iraqi regime, so now I'm not talking about the Iraqi people, the Iraqi regime, which is now trying to divide the Iraqi people between those who support them and support the Iranian regime, and accuse all the others of being either infidels or spies or whatever, accuse them of treachery, so they will allow themselves to hurt them or kill them or whatever. This regime is very dangerous now. I believe the U.S. government should focus on punishing them, not the Iraqi people. Punishing the politicians, not the Iraqi people. That's what we should do. Because I remember when I was in Iraq and America put sanctions on Iraq after 1990 when Saddam invaded Kuwait. America put economic sanctions on Iraq. So we were starving. And Saddam was having his own feast and his own parties. Yeah, he and his family, they had parties and feasts and celebrations, abundance in everything, like food, luxury, whatever you say. But we, the common people, we were suffering. So all that pressure was useless because it made people think, the ignorant will curse, of course, the Western countries for doing that. But I was aware that Saddam was the reason behind it. So me and my family, we knew that Saddam was using it, using the sanctions, so he would punish the people, put them, let them starve, and tell the people, see, you are causing my people to starve. But really, he was behind it. I hope that Trump not be stupid and do that again, do the same mistake done by Bill Clinton. Bill Clinton was really an asshole when it came to that thing. I hope he hears me. Hey, Bill Clinton, you are an asshole. So, yeah, I just want to tell him that. So they put Iraq under real sanctions, but they didn't punish the government. So, for example, you can punish the government by stopping the officials from having an access to the UN, to the international, or put Iraq, the entire country, under Article 7 of the United Nations. What is it like? Constitution or whatever. Yeah, the Article 7 where you can manage the problem by stopping them from taking the country to a war and division. Because this Iraqi government right now is run by militias. So the country is really suffering right now. Okay, guys, I hope next time we have more viewers. Please support our channel. Give us a thumb up, comment. Give us your opinions and your questions, and I will welcome them with a big heart. Thank you all. I love you all. And I love the United States, of course, and I love all Americans who believe in humanity and equality, and that we should fight for justice. And hey, Rose, stop being an asshole. Stop being, don't have a sympathy with with a killer like Khamenei or any other killer or any other tyrant. So, okay, guys, bye bye.